Tahoe radio app. Well, look at this already, 63 degrees outside the radio base camp window. We're aiming for a high right around 88 today. Typical Sierra summer day is what we have on tap today. Highs in the upper 80s, winds about 10 to 15 this afternoon. And that is the case today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, all through next week. In fact, we're going to cross over into the low 90s to start next week. So upper 80s through the weekend. Lows will remain somewhere in the 40s to low 50s. It all depends on your elevation and location. And speaking of beautiful weather, this forecast brought to you by the Truckee Tahoe Airport, where the big Truckee Tahoe Air Show and Family Festival is happening this weekend. It is back after a 2-year hiatus after our time of life in captivity, as we like to say around here, thanks to the COVID pandemic. And joining us right now in the studio from the Truckee Tahoe Air Show and Family Festival are David Love. He's the chairman of the whole thing over there. And also Anna Serbenyanko, who is also known as the Sky Dancer, is here. And we have been talking before coming on the air. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. But let me first start off by saying hello and welcome. Thank you, too, for coming in today.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I'm going to turn you up just a little bit, Anna. All right. This is one of those things, there's a lot of ground to cover today with this conversation. First of all, the air show is back after a 2-year absence. And it is going to be every bit as spectacular and fun as it always has been, because it's not just the air show, it's also the family festival going on. And Anna, you are known as a Sky Dancer because of what you do, obviously, with your aircraft. And this is your 6th or 7th time as part of the air show.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I love this show. This is like a home show for me, away from home. And
Yeah.
I love coming back here every time.
Yeah, and your home is actually in Canada. But we should note that you are Ukrainian born, and you lived in Switzerland for a while, in Germany and Brazil. I'm getting all of this off of the website because your resume is very impressive. Let's just let everybody know that you don't do much with your life. You speak 8 languages fluently. You operate the Canadian Flight Center. You have a PhD in financial mathematics. As I understand it, you're working on your 2nd PhD right now. You're also a mom. Do you ever sleep? Is the first question I have for you, because
From time to time when I have a chance.
Right. And you're an amazing pilot. And we were talking before we opened up the microphones here. You didn't learn to fly until 2008, is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
My first flight, other than being a passenger, was 10 days after I immigrated to Canada. And my idea was that I wanted to travel. I love traveling, and just wanted to be able to take my own plane and go places.
Sure.
And that was my dream.
Yeah.
And then I took my first flight, and I discovered that there was more to flying than just going somewhere. I discovered the flight itself,
Yeah.
and I got excited. I got my private license, and then I didn't feel I had enough training, so I figured maybe I should do my commercial license. And I got my commercial license. I still didn't feel I had enough training, and I continued with the instructor rating. Because by that time I was teaching for about 10 years, languages and mathematics and statistics and other stuff. And I thought it was a good combination, teaching and flying, to become a flight instructor. And that was my first year of flying, from my first flight to my instructor rating. It was about a year. I pretty much lived at the airport.
Yeah.
And yeah, here I am 40 years later.
Wow. So were you a daredevil as a kid? Did you like all the twists and turns and loop-de-loops?
I was actually very apprehensive doing what's called unusual attitudes.
Yeah.
When I was in the beginning of my flight training, in Canada we have to do spins, and it's basically stalling the plane and make it fall and spin. And I kind of went into it without preparation. My instructors warning was like, watch this, and the next thing I know, we are upside down. So that freaked me out. And for the next few hundred hours when I was flying, I could do spins and I could do maneuvers when I had to, but I wasn't really enjoying them.
Right.
And then one day, a couple of years later, I was working as an instructor already. My partner said, well, let's take the aerobatic plane and just do one loop and one roll, I promise. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was a love at first sight.
Wow.
It was comfortable. It was controlled. I knew exactly what was happening. It was not a surprise, and I don't know what happens, but I know exactly what is going to be next. And that was a three-dimensional freedom. I loved it.
Wow.
I did my aerobatic instructor rating after that within probably about a month. I competed for a couple of years, and I started doing air shows the next year. And then it was kind of too much doing competitions and air shows often on the same weekend, so I had to choose. And I enjoy air shows and meeting people and have the fun environment so much more than having the pressure of the competition. So I continued with air shows and I never regret it.
Yeah, and you're one of the local favorites from air shows here as the sky dancer, because you do these aerobatic maneuvers and it's really graceful, right? And you do it to classical music in the air. And I know that there's a lot of technical skill and prowess involved with that, but I think it seems as if you have developed this connection with your aircraft, so that is second nature the right term to use? I mean, it's a muscle memory, second nature. You obviously know the technical side of it, but then the artistic side, I don't know that you can really teach the artistic side. That must be something that's within you, right?
I feel when I sit in the plane, I pretty much strap the plane on me, and going in the air, I become one with the plane.
Yeah.
And I feel how it behaves. I feel what we are doing together. And it was interesting, the other day I was flying with a student, a very advanced pilot, lots of experience, but it was his first aerobatic flight. And I'm teaching the maneuvers, but he was asking really good question. Oh, how do you know this, and how do you? And it's like, okay, how do you explain how you feel it?
Yeah.
And
sure.
I think it comes with practice, of course, a lot of analysis, a lot of repetition, but eventually you just become one with the plane.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's I think that's a really cool thing.
And sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
The artistic part is also probably coming from some of my other experiences. I have done dancing as a child. I still do ballet. I'm a figure skating coach. And I like to bring the artistic part because a lot in aviation is very technical and may seem complicated, but it's also the beauty of flying and the art of flying that with the classical music that I'm flying to, that's what I hope comes across
Right.
in the act.
Yeah. Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Anna Serbenyanko. She is known as the Sky Dancer, and she is part of the Truckee Tahoe Air Show and Family Festival this weekend. Also with us is David Love, the chairman of the event. And before we get to you, David, I think it's important to bring up the fact that you are Ukrainian-born, Anna, and so obviously Ukraine is on everyone's mind right now with what's happening over there. And I hear that you are flying, or are you performing to the Ukrainian national anthem during the air show this weekend?
That is correct. So I'm flying two performances. One is to the classical music and the other one to the Ukrainian national anthem.
Wow.
And my air show routine is drawing the Ukrainian crest on the sky.
Wow.
With the smoke.
Okay.
It came earlier this year. As everybody knows, the war that started in Ukraine. I was born and raised in Ukraine, and this war is not just news for me online. It is very personal. We had in my extended family 4 deaths since the beginning of the war.
Oh, I'm so very sorry.
We had some of our family members evacuated by miracle. We still have some that are in the middle of all the action. And with some we don't even have contact right now. So it is very close and near to my heart, and part of our everyday life. And my first thought was when the war started, I wish I was MiG-29 certified. I would have been out there.
Oh wow! Yeah, I can tell that it's a very emotional time for you too. How do you keep the emotion out of the cockpit when you're flying? I could see that might be a distraction if you're up there and all of this is weighing heavily on you.
Aviation and flying has that magic effect that when you go in the air, this is all that matters, and you leave a lot of things on the ground.
Yeah.
And some emotion can be disruptive, but there is some emotion that is inspiring and giving you strength and inspiration to do what you need to do because you know why you are doing it.
Right.
So with the act that I'm doing, short of being able to fly MiG-29 in Ukraine, throughout this air show season that I'm dedicating to Ukraine and to supporting Ukraine, we have been raising awareness and helping to collect humanitarian help, raise funds for Ukraine, help refugees leaving the country, and keep them safe and where we can help them. So the help has been going in both directions. And for the last few months I have been working with the United 24, that is the initiative of the President Zelensky. Very transparent reports every 24 hours, and people are able to help directly in Ukraine where it has been where the funds are directed right away and to the dedicated cause, which is of the choice of the donor. And we have been spreading the word, and it has been amazing how many people step in and are willing to help and looking for this information. So if we can spread the word, and that would be amazing. Ukraine needs every bit of help.
Yeah. Well, I can assure you that you're going to feel a whole lot of love and support from the air show crowd here in our community, and it's one of those things. I don't know what I can do to make you feel better about it, and I don't really know what to say other than the fact that I hope that this whole situation ends soon, and I hope it ends in favor of the Ukrainian people, of course. The country, and I mean the whole world is aware of the spirit and drive and heart of your country, of your home country. And obviously, your accomplishments, what you do is a great representative of the Ukrainian people. And so I'm so glad that you're here and that you're able to spread that word, and you're able to do it during the air show too. So much love to you and
Thank
your
you
family.
so much,
Yeah.
and many thanks from the part of the Ukrainian people for all the support America has done so far. You guys have been amazing, and it made a whole difference. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. David, I don't know how you're going to follow that up, but we're going to talk about the festival and other things going on with the air show right now. David Love is the chairman of the Truckee Tahoe Air Show and Family Festival, and he is here in the flesh. So good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. We're really excited that we were able to have Anna come back again. And we're really, much of our air show is kind of featured around Anna, both in terms of in the air, and we really appreciate the opportunity to talk to the people of the Truckee area through your radio and other things we're doing here. So I've become friends with Anna, and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to work with someone with such dedication, kind of stuff. I wish I was young and that smart to start over again.
Yeah, I know. When you two came in and we were talking, when I pulled up the website earlier this morning, and I was this is just scratching the surface of Anna's resume on here. It's like, holy cow. It's you're an amazing person, Anna, and I'm glad you're here. And I know that David is too. So it's been a 2-year hiatus, and the air show is finally back.
Yeah, I just need to thank all the people of the greater North Tahoe Basin and the Truckee area. We spend about 6 months in a sort of a series of intensive discussions with the community and the current air show board at the district, who decides
Sure.
what these things are and how they take place.
Yeah.
And the outpouring of support over the last 6 months has been just amazing. People signed petitions, came out, really lent their support, made it heard that they actually like this.
Yeah.
For us, it's so exciting. I've been involved. I'm a volunteer in an air show in Wisconsin where 350,000 people show up in 5 days.
Wow.
Called EAA's Air Adventure at Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which
Yeah.
is the largest civilian show in the world.
Wow.
But this show is community and it's local. And that's why we really pushed hard to emphasize we're an air show and family festival.
Right. Right.
So I think that's just amazing. It got us a lot closer. This is one of the only air shows in the United States where it's free. It no cost
Yeah.
for the person entering, and to the generous sponsorship we've got in the community, many of the local businesses, from generous support from the airport district. And we have what's called an airport district. It goes from Tahoe City over to the Nevada border, from the lake up here. So it has lots of many functions within the community. One is to operate this airport.
Right.
And we think this is one of the best public relations things about an airport. You can't walk on an airport anymore.
Right. Exactly.
As a kid, I used to hang on the fence and beg to wash an airplane so I could go for a ride. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So this is the one time people can come on the field and touch and see and talk to. Anna's gonna be talking to people when she's not in the air, to kids and families. I got about 8 great photos of Anna on her knee talking to some young lady or some man we use on our website, pictures.
Yeah.
You can look at our website, there's some gorgeous stuff of Anna on the website.
Yeah.
So that more than anything else is to spend a day that every family can afford to come to.
Yep.
We will have lots of tons of really fun flying, which I'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But on the ground, I mean, we've got face painters and bounce houses and stilt walkers and
Yeah.
all the food and ice cream you want your kids to eat. And it's just, we're expecting 15 to 20,000 people.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a pretty big event for this region.
Right.
We do 2 shows, so we actually open the gate at 9 a.m.
Right. It's this Saturday.
this Saturday.
Right.
We use the entire airport area for parking, so actually parking isn't all that cumbersome at all.
Right.
We got Optimus Club have about 30 people out there just parking cars.
Yeah.
To keep it flowing smooth and safe for everybody else. What we found is some folks, particularly if you got younger kids, may come out in the morning, see the show, see what we're doing, grab a bite to eat, and may go home because that's about all your kids are going to do for a day.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people who show up at noon
Right.
and do the afternoon show.
Okay.
So when I say 15 to 20,000, probably 10, 12,000 in the morning, and about 6,000 will say, enough for my kids.
Yeah.
And folks will come in the afternoon. And that we like also, because it's a long day because we go till about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. Yeah.
So for us, the family festival activities, we do offer a kind of a unique experience for families if they're interested. Particularly, we do have one pay area. We call it our VIP tent.
Mm-hmm.
So some folks said, is there a way I can get a bite to eat and sit down and have some shaded tent area? So we, for $125, sell a seat.
Right.
And you get tri-tip and barbecued chicken and adult beverage or soda, and
Right.
you sit right there and you're
In
right on the
shade.
flight line in the shade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we actually have a few tickets left for that,
And that's at TruckeeTahoeAirshow.com.
right on the website, and you
Okay.
can purchase it online. When we run out, which I think we'll probably do in the next couple of days, we'll announce it on the website. Sorry.
Yeah.
People can still check when they come. Sometimes we get some turn back tickets. Hey, last minute I can't come.
Right.
What can I do with this?
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not like going to a concert where you have to sell off your ticket.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Kind of stuff. So what will happen is that at 10 o'clock in the morning, the Mountain Bells from here
Uh-huh.
will do the national anthem. It's the 75th anniversary of the U.S. Air Force.
Wow.
And I'm excited. We have 8 former military pilots on our committee.
Right?
Some of us a little older than the rest, but I was a U.S. Air Force pilot.
Uh-huh.
Flew over 3,000 hours in the Air Force in multiple types of jet aircraft. I'm really excited that we're going to celebrate that 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
My father was in the Army Air Force, and he flew China, Burma, India, and C-46s and 47s over the Himalayas. They
Wow.
called it the hump in those
Yeah.
days. And he was in 1947, it became the U.S. Air Force.
Right, yeah.
So we're excited about that piece because we're going to have Army Air Force airplanes here on the ground.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to have brand new state-of-the-art modern jets on the ground here and some flying as a part of the show. So after the Mountain Bells go on at 10,
Yeah.
they're going to kind of celebrate the services. We have a guest speaker who's been here a couple of times, a person I've really known for almost 30 years, Colonel Bud Anderson.
Uh-huh.
Bud turned 100 in January.
Wow.
Bud is the highest scoring living ace in the United States and all of North America.
No kidding.
He had 16 and a quarter victories in World War II. He flew a P-51 Mustang.
Yeah.
And we're going to have 2 P-51 Mustangs celebrating Bud's birthday flying in our air show.
Yeah.
And Bud will speak at noon. I'll MC, and he'll talk about his World War II flying experiences.
Yeah. And I'll bet you he would love to climb into one of those planes and
Oh
take
yeah,
it for a spin.
he flew Mustangs up until about 15 years ago.
No kidding.
Actually,
Good for
in
him.
Wisconsin at the big Oshkosh show,
Yeah.
they have 2 airplanes painted up identically in the same colors as his World War II airplane. One owned by Roush of Roush Racing in the NASCAR circuit.
Uh-huh.
So they went and fully restored an airplane, and it looks just like his plane the day he stepped into it
Wow.
in World War II.
Wow. Well, that's great. So he speaks at noon.
He speaks at noon.
Okay.
So that's the nice crossover for people. We'll have a great big hangar. We've got a huge jet hangar.
Right.
So both, we'd still like some social distancing in our world today.
Sure.
And we certainly want to protect Bud,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So he'll spoke at noon. He's got some video. Actually, he's got actual footage from his gun cameras in World War II.
Oh, wow.
Is a part of the presentation.
Wow.
So what'll happen is after Bud is introduced in the morning, then we'll start flying. And for our acts this time, obviously Anna's flying for us.
Yeah.
We've got what's called a Marchetti, which was a trainer airplane, 2-seat, and Rich Perkins, who is a former lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, part of
Uh-huh.
our Air Force contingent,
Yeah.
flew U-2s out of Beale,
Wow.
was an instructor pilot in T-38s, the supersonic jet trainers for the U.S. Air Force.
Mhm.
He flies this really pretty air show with this really cool aircraft for
Yeah.
us. We're going to have some drones for the first time ever. So we're going to have racing drones.
Oh, no kidding.
So kind of like Reno in Mini.
Yeah.
So little pylons out there, and the drones will actually race.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
crowd will be able to watch them. We've got 2 FAA certified drone pilots, because as part of an air show, everybody has to have specific FAA certifications just to compete with the crowd there.
Right.
Both for safety and the way it's regulated by the U.S. government.
Right.
Then we're going to have our P-51s do some passes and some smoke, and have Colonel Anderson right there on the flight line to
Yeah.
kind of send them off. Actually, they're coming up. One of the reasons they're coming is he's going to sign their airplanes.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So on their nose art forever, it'll say Colonel Bud Anderson.
Yeah.
And he's a legend, a hero in the flying community, and really in the U.S. He got the U.S. Congressional Gold Medal a couple of years ago. And just a neat guy. Just
Yeah,
really
sounds
fun to
like
talk
it.
to.
Yeah.
We have gliders at the airport.
Uh-huh.
I had about 3,000 hours of jet time, and somebody says, "Why don't you learn to fly a glider now that you're living in the Truckee area?" And I said, well, I used to do 700 miles an hour. They do 40. I said, this ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be interesting, and with 3,000 hours, I got to be a better pilot. Flying here in gliders with all of our updrafts and downdrafts and
Yeah.
this. But imagine being up over the Truckee Basin in Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
and there's no sound except a little wind coming over the top of your canopy. Bubble canopy, and you can see halfway down to up to Mount Lassen and almost down to, we can fly the gliders from here to Mount Lassen or to Mount Whitney.
Wow.
They pull us up, we get above the Sierras, getting that nice rising air out
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
So they're gonna demonstrate how the gliders work here. We're actually gonna tow a glider up in front of the crowd.
Uh-huh.
To get my commercial rating, actually what I had to do was, when you're taking off in a glider and they're pulling you up,
Mm-hmm.
when I got to about 200 feet above the ground, my instructor disconnected the rope from my glider.
Yeah.
And so there I am, going the wrong way, 200 feet above the runway. And to get my rating, I got to turn this glider all the way around 180 degrees and land it safely back on the runway.
Yeah.
And motor airplanes like Ann and I fly, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But this glider has those huge wings. It was really, once you practice it, pretty simple. We're actually going to show people how safe gliders are, how much fun gliders are. Because people wonder, they see them being towed off the Truckee Airport. What happens if that rope breaks?
Yeah.
So we're going to demonstrate that for folks, and it'll be
Oh,
fun.
cool.
It'll be really a fun kind of thing.
Yeah.
We have a unique experience. Anna talked about flying in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other high-end performers working with Anna was Vicki Benzing. Vicki has a 1940 World War II Stearman open cockpit,
Uh-huh.
which trained all kinds of World War II pilots
Right.
in the beginning, and she's got it fully restored. And she takes this huge, big airplane and flies this beautiful, lovely air show act. As opposed to Anna's beautiful dance, she's got 450 horsepower, so this is one airplane flying into the sky. And Vicki also is unique. She races jets at Reno at the air races also.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she now has the record. She is the fastest woman ever to race at Reno in a jet aircraft.
Wow.
Broke the record and still holds it. She broke the record in 2015.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so Vicki's sort of a quasi-local through that, lived up at Pine Mountain Lake,
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We want what we call hardcore aerobatic. This is an airplane that does 8 to 12 Gs.
Okay.
Hardcore, snap, roll. Shows you how hard you can punish an airplane and it still keeps flying, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Bob Freeman, who was on the international our team of aerobatics for the U.S.
Yeah.
Bob's going to be in, we call it an extra 300. So this is hardcore, lots of fun,
Yeah.
down in the dirt, aerobatic kind of flying.
Yeah.
So we'll go through that, and then we'll repeat it in the afternoon.
Oh,
A
that's
couple
cool.
other things will be happening. As part of our salute to the U.S. Air Force and Colonel Anderson,
Mhm.
Beale Air Force Base is going to do some flybys in their T-38s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And these are white, slick, fast. I got to fly those when I was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
In level flight, we could go supersonic,
Right.
or go just straight up to 25,000 feet.
Those are the trainer aircraft.
They're trainer aircraft.
They're the ones with the hole in the nose?
Nope.
No,
No.
that's
Slick,
I don't know my
pointed
aircraft.
nose, white with red and black striping on them.
okay.
And there's a version of it which is a fighter version called the F-5.
Okay.
And if anybody watched the first Top Gun movie, I'm wondering if there are 3 people in the world who haven't watched Top Gun yet. I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
The F-5 is a combat aircraft that's still used for the Top Gun school.
Okay.
If someone watched the first one, Maverick and Goose were upside down among Meg taking pictures, and there was this black airplane with a red star. Actually, they came from over at the Top Gun school. It was an F-5.
Right.
And they're going to be here.
Okay.
So they're going to bring one up from the Top Gun school, actually, and have it on the field for us.
Oh, cool.
We have a woman who grew up in the area, and she now is a instructor pilot in Navy F-18s.
Right.
So if you watch the second Top Gun movie, those were F-18s.
Okay.
So, and she got permission from her commander to bring her airplane here.
Oh, nice.
So she's gonna bring an F-18. So we're gonna have a Vietnam Aerofighter F-5 and used in Top Gun as the aggressor
Yeah.
to practice against. And we're gonna have a modern F-18 state-of-the-art airplane that they're using in the Navy right now and in the Marines.
Yeah.
And they use it at the Top Gun school. So she's gonna be here to demonstrate that. So that's just a minor part of our show.
Wow, that's going to be great. It's going to be a great day from 9 to 4. I think I know some people leave after the first show, but with all of this, I can't imagine that there's going to be some people out there that are going to stay for the whole thing.
Oh, there are.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, the big family festival too. And as you said, this is free and free admission, free parking, not a hassle because you have all that space out there. And people can get all the details online at TruckeeTahoeAirShow.com. And there are still some tickets left for that VIP tent. If you're interested in that, same website, that's where you can get those. And those usually sell out, so.
Yeah, they do.
You got
We'll do that.
a couple more days of, I'm sure after people hearing you two, they're gonna be really interested in that. And Anna, it's been a pleasure meeting you, having you in here. I wish you, what do you say to, theater people break a leg? What do you say to pilots in advance of flying or doing what you do?
Have fun, be safe.
Okay, that
Slava Ukraini.
We need translation.
Yeah. Well, Anna Serbenyanko and David Love, thank you both for being here. We wish you great success and have a great weekend out there. Anything else we need to add, you think?
Thank you for inviting us. Thank the whole Truckee community for supporting us. Can't say that enough. And we know that all of us want to do everything we can to support Anna in Ukraine. So
Yes,
that's my statement.
Absolutely.
And thank you everybody, thank you the community, to the airport, and to all the people looking forward to meeting everyone on Saturday.
All right. Well, it sounds great. Truckee Tahoe Air Show, conveniently enough, at the Truckee Tahoe Airport this Saturday, 9 to 4. And again, all the details online at TruckeeTahoeAirShow.com. You can see pictures of Anna in action in her airplane. What kind of plane is that? And I don't know aircraft very well, so is that your blue Skydancer plane right there?
This is an American built by American Champion Factory in Wisconsin, built in 2009, super decathlon, 180 horsepower, fabric airplane, very light, very aerobatic capable, and it's not as high power as Bob's.
Yeah.
It is very capable aerobatically, but it also makes you work, which is a great aerobatic trainer, because when the plane is very powerful, it almost does a lot of work for you, or you can go straight to more advanced maneuvers like Bob Freeman does. With the decathlon, the aerobatic is more simple, it's graceful and elegant, and it gives an opportunity to work on the pilot skills, and that's why I love this aircraft. It is both my air show plane and the one I'm teaching in back in Vancouver.
All right.
We call it the walk and chew gum airplane. You have to use both feet and both hands all at once to make this airplane perform like Anna does.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to get that good.
Yeah. Well, we're so glad that you're part of this, Anna, really. And David, thank you again. TruckeeTahoeAirShow.com is the official website that will answer all your questions about the air show this Saturday. And thank you both for being here. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we are 101.5 Truckee Tahoe Radio.